The Tatar army moved toward Bukhara. Genghis Khan, keeping his youngest son Tolui Khan by his side, crossed the river Sir Darya under the cover of silence and entered the vast desert lands. The Khwarezmian settlements were left behind on his left, but he neither stopped nor slowed. On the desert sand, the thunder of hooves echoed, each step foretelling an approaching storm. After covering hundreds of miles, he reached the shores of the Aral Sea, then circled the Kizil Kum desert and advanced northwest toward Bukhara. His enemies were unaware, their eyes fixed toward the east, awaiting a Tatar assault from that direction. They did not know that the east was already filled with Tatars. Jochi and other princes were capturing cities near the Sir Darya, preparing to strike from the east. In the southeast, Jebe Noyan had already advanced 200 miles beyond Samarkand. Thus, Khwarezm Shah and his army were encircled by the Tatars from three sides. The great cities of Samarkand and Bukhara were trapped in fear under the pressure of this three-pronged invasion. Emerging from the desert, Genghis Khan rushed toward Bukhara like lightning and wind. He did not wish to wait even a moment. Along the way, the army stopped only to water horses and soldiers. Everything else was ignored. Khwarezm Shah, with his main army, was stationed near Samarkand and Bukhara. Genghis Khan's first objective was to confront and destroy him. The wealth and treasures of the capital were not beyond his sight, but his true priority was the annihilation of Khwarezm Shah's army. He knew well, if Khwarezm Shah was defeated at Samarkand or Bukhara, the capture of the capital would become a matter of moments. Within the fortified city of Samarkand, protected by towering walls, Khwarezm Shah was contemplating the coming war. Suddenly, news arrived. From the west, Genghis Khan was advancing toward Bukhara. The moment he heard this, Khwarezm Shah lost his composure. From the southeast, Jebe Noyan was advancing. From the west, Genghis Khan himself was coming. Khwarezm Shah felt trapped in a vice. In panic, he divided his army. Some units were sent toward Bukhara. Some were assigned to defend Samarkand. Certain Atabegs were placed on surveillance duties. And he himself, fear heavy in his heart, began preparing to leave Samarkand. He told his nobles and commanders, "Defend the city. I will soon return with a massive army." The moment this decision was announced, it struck the commanders like lightning. After countless Muslim sacrifices, they had been waiting for the moment to trample Tatar corpses and raise cries of victory. But astonishingly, the king was abandoning his people to the mercy of the enemy and choosing flight. The governor of Samarkand, Alp Khan, was furious. Other brave commanders, Bala Khan, Albaz Khan, were equally enraged. With his personal entourage and guards, Khwarezm Shah departed Samarkand. The massive iron gates of the fortress were open. Nobles, chiefs, and commanders walked with him. Reaching the bridge, he stopped. This was the same Samarkand
that 10 years earlier, Alauddin Muhammad Khwarezm Shah had liberated from the Karakitai, a city that had been the cradle of Muslim culture and learning for centuries. Now that very city was being handed to the enemy. The difference between the brave Alauddin Muhammad of 10 years ago and the broken Khwarezm Shah of today was like night and day. Standing at the bridge, he paused for a few moments. Before his eyes, Tatar cavalry surged toward Samarkand like whirlwinds. A helpless voice escaped his lips. The attacking army is so vast that if they were to throw only their whips into the moat, it would overflow. The officers standing nearby looked at one another in disbelief. The king's cowardice and words of despair deepened the fear in their hearts. With uncertainty, fear, and defeat etched on his face, Khwarazm Shah departed toward Khorasan. Bukhara, due to its impregnable walls and formidable defense system, was known as the stronghold of the Islamic world. Its towering fortifications stretched 12 farsakhs, 36 miles. A beautiful canal ran through the heart of the city, dividing a population of millions into two. On both sides stood lush gardens and magnificent palaces. Bukhara was a cradle of mosques and madrasas, home to hadith scholars, jurists, exegetes, and Sufis. This was the birthplace of Imam Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari, may Allah be pleased with him, whose Sahih al-Bukhari is regarded as the most authentic book after the Quran. At the beginning of Muharram 617 Hijri, March 1220 CE, countless Tatar armies began encircling Bukhara. The governor, Inanch Khan, stood atop the walls with his companions, watching the enemy camps take shape. As far as the eye could see, Tatar tents and yurts were being erected. Genghis Khan's towering yurt stood aligned with the city walls. Only days earlier, the people believed themselves safe, but when millions of Tatars suddenly appeared from the west and laid siege to the city, panic seized both rulers and citizens. 30,000 Khwarezmian reinforcements had already reached Bukhara. Turkish and Iranian troops served under the governor's command, yet the enemy's numbers were far greater. Had the people and leaders united in defense, Bukhara could have withstood the siege for months. But refugees from the border towns, stripped and broken, had spread terrifying tales of Tatar brutality. Fear overwhelmed the city. Some nobles believed peace with Genghis Khan might be the better option. Inanch Khan was a brave man. He and several officers refused to surrender. They chose to fight. In the dead of night,
Inanch Khan, Kuk Khan, Kashli Khan, Hamid Bor, and Sonj Khan led 300,000 cavalry and 20,000 infantry out of the city. Believing the enemy unprepared, they launched a fierce attack. But the Tatars had been forewarned. They were fully alert. Almost the entire Khwarezmian force was surrounded. All but a few were martyred fighting. The Bukhara commanders' true aim was not battle, it was escape. They broke through enemy ranks and fled. At first it seemed the Tatars were retreating, but when the Muslims failed to counterattack, the Tatars realized this was flight. Genghis Khan dispatched senior commanders to pursue them relentlessly. The chase continued to the banks of the Amu Darya. Nearly the entire fleeing army was slaughtered. Only Inanch Khan, with a handful of men, managed to cross the river alive. With the army destroyed, all hope of defense vanished. The next day, a delegation led by Allama Badruddin Qazi Khan, Rahmatullah Alayhi, approached Genghis Khan. They pleaded for mercy and agreed to open the city gates. Genghis Khan promised to protect the honor and lives of civilians. The keys were handed over. The gates were opened. Genghis Khan entered Bukhara with a flood of soldiers. Inanch Khan had already fled. The fortress commander, Kuk Khan, sealed himself inside the citadel with 400 soldiers. The people of Bukhara were paralyzed with terror. Human-shaped demons flooded the streets and alleys. Their terrifying faces, fur-lined garments, horned helmets, and incomprehensible language froze hearts. Unrestricted, Genghis Khan rode through the city, admiring its splendor. Tolui Khan rode beside him. From rooftops and streets, the people stared at this embodiment of terror. There was no trace of mercy on his face. Clad in black leather armor and helmet, he looked monstrous. His gaze fell upon the grand mosque of Bukhara. Its grandeur stunned him. He halted before its gates. "Is this the palace of Khwarezm?" he asked. "No, great Khan, this is the house of Allah," they replied. He spurred his horse and rode into the vast hall. Dismounting near the pulpit, he climbed it wearing his boots. A massive Quran lay there, but it meant nothing to him. Addressing the crowd, he commanded, "Provide immediate food for my army. Open the grain stores, feed the horses at once, clear mosques like this for stables." Once he left, the soldiers stormed the granaries. Horses were tied inside the mosque. Scholars were forced to tend to them. Qurans and books were thrown from shelves and replaced with fodder. Sacred pages were trampled under hooves. The Tatars drank wine inside the mosque. Dancers performed on the pulpit. The people watched in silent horror. And this was only the beginning. The very square where jurists once delivered lessons of sacred law had now turned into the epicenter of fear and horror. The crown of the Sayyids of Transoxiana, Sayyid Jalaluddin Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, whispered to Bukhara's renowned religious leader, Imam Zada Ruknuddin, may Allah be pleased with him. "Hazrat, what is happening to us? Are we awake or trapped inside a nightmare?" Imam Zada Ruknuddin, may Allah be pleased with him, replied, "Ask nothing. This is the self-sufficiency of Allah, the Most High. This is divine wrath descending upon us. There is no room left for questions." But this was only the opening glimpse. Genghis Khan's next decree was far more ruthless. Reaching the Eidgah, the merciless conqueror ordered the public to gather once again. He climbed the pulpit and addressed the people. He possessed only one art: to terrify the conquered and crush them psychologically. First, he spoke of Khwarezm Shah's betrayal and the reasons for his invasion. Then he declared, "O people of Bukhara, I am the wrath of the eternal sky. My power strikes every corner of the universe. Khwarezm Shah has committed grave crimes. I have come to punish him. I will annihilate him, just as I have trampled other kings beneath my feet. You have committed great sins, sins committed by your leaders." You may ask, on what authority do I make this claim? Because I am the punishment of God. Had you not sinned, a torment like me would never have descended upon you. Beware, do not aid Khwarezm Shah. Cut all ties with the soldiers hiding in the citadel. Expel them from the city. If you wish to save your lives, open the doors of your homes. The property visible before us we will take ourselves, but reveal to us your hidden wealth, your gold, silver, and buried treasures. Genghis Khan ordered the people to expel the soldiers from the citadel, but the fortress's height and strength made this impossible. The Khwarezmian soldiers hiding inside continued launching surprise attacks, harassing the Tatars repeatedly. At last, Genghis Khan himself advanced to conquer the citadel. An announcement echoed through the city. Every person must participate in this campaign. Whoever stays behind will be executed. A massive crowd gathered. On Genghis Khan's command, the moat was filled. Stones, soil, tree trunks, mosque pulpits, bookshelves, whatever could be found was thrown into the trench. Once the moat was filled, the order for attack was given. Countless Tatars and countless civilians charged together. Kuk Khan, with his 400 brave warriors, displayed astonishing courage and discipline. For 12 days, they prevented the invaders from entering the fortress. But how long can a handful fight? Hunger, thirst, exhaustion. The Tatars breached the walls and entered the citadel. Every last defender was slaughtered. The second phase of atrocities. The gates of the fortress were sealed. Now, Genghis Khan's gaze focused on only one thing: wealth and humans. This marked the beginning of the second phase of brutality. Tatar soldiers were granted complete freedom to plunder. There was no law, no limit. They stormed into homes. Whatever they found, they seized. Whoever resisted was killed. But this was not mere looting, it was savagery. Chaste women were surrounded by beasts. Open, public rape. No one to stop them. Any man who stepped forward out of honor was torn to pieces. The city's nobles and elites were already imprisoned, under sword point. Their wealth was confiscated, but the torture did not end. Whips, crushing devices, bodies branded with fire. With every scream, one question echoed: where is the rest of the treasure? Every coin was extracted. Still, suspicion remained, and they died screaming in agony. Palace foundations were torn apart. Basements, wells, walls, everything was searched. And when they were convinced that not even grease remained in the bones, the third and final phase began: the massacre. Men, women, children, all driven into a vast open field. On all sides stood spear-holding and sword-wielding Tatars. Everyone understood the end had arrived. Children screamed, women wailed, wives clung to husbands, children pressed against their mothers, and the Tatars dragged them apart by their hair. Cries rose to the heavens. Men, with tears of helplessness, watched the glint of swords above their heads. Those veiled women whose purity angels once envied, today were trapped in the claws of beasts. Faces that had never been seen by sun or moon, today were disgraced in the open field. Blood flowed without restraint. Ghazi Sadruddin Khan, Imamzada Ruknuddin, and his son could bear no more. Their sense of honor exploded. Allahu Akbar! Empty-handed, they charged toward the Tatar wolves. They were cut down, they fought on, and they were martyred. Inspired by them, others rose as well. Cries of takbir, breaking bodies, pierced chests. Some seized enemy weapons, some struck like the possessed. Many Tatars were killed. But then, the organized beastly army advanced, and the massacre began. By afternoon, hundreds of thousands of corpses covered the field, unburied, unshrouded, towers of skulls, mountains of bodies. Finally, the city was set ablaze. Wooden houses turned to flames within moments. From the ruins of Bukhara, black smoke rose, so thick that it swallowed the sun. A few men and women were taken captive, bound in chains, driven with torture toward Samarkand. Whoever could not walk was killed on the spot, and the caravan moved on. Prelude, the next chapter. Here, the story of Bukhara ended, but history's bloodshed had not yet ceased. The beasts were already marching toward their next prey. The next city, the heart of Islam, the crown of knowledge and civilization, Samarkand. In the next episode, the fall of Samarkand and a catastrophe history had never witnessed before.